Bettina. Come on. Say what? Come on. Say what? We got hot topics. We got what the fudge. So bring it home. Say what? Bring it home. Say what? We got questions. We got the answers. You wanna chit? You wanna chat? You wanna talk about this and talk about that? You're in the right place to hear the facts. Bring it home. Say what? Bring it home. Say what? The ladies are bringing the conversation. So join us on Say What across the nation. Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what?
Y'all know we can't do this unless I hit that part. Say what? I got it out today. I had to work on that today. What's up, Miss Vanessa? How are you?
I'm wonderful. Just peachy today. How about yourself?
I am wonderful. We hit that note that say what? We got that out today. So we are happy to have you with us today. Thank you for our listeners. Thank you for our supporters. We are happy to be here on the Say What podcast. And you know how we do this. You know we can't go anywhere. We are missing two ladies, though. Before I even talk about scripture, we are missing two ladies. I want to give a shout out to Miss Sonia and her husband. It's their anniversary.
Yes.
How many years is it, Vanessa? 30 what?
35th.
35th anniversary.
35.
We're going to do a show just on them, okay?
Yes. Longevity.
Because you are not seeing marriages 30 plus years.
Girl, you better say it. You're not seeing
that.
3
months, honestly.
3 months, yes. Dare I go to 3 days?
Okay.
You know?
So, I mean, to have somebody 30 plus years.
Right.
In my practice, I had a couple that was married 60 plus years that I actually interviewed and got a chance to talk to them about what the secret to their marriage is. And that's the funny part. We like to think it's a secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret, but again, you still celebrate people being together that long. Is a wonderful thing. So we excuse Sonia. She is allowed to be gone today. Miss Bettina is also out today. We are missing her, Miss Juvie or Miss Bettina, Miss //.
So we're missing the bishop and the junior bishop.
The bishop and the junior bishop.
What is we gonna do? What us gonna do?
What us gonna do? But we're gonna work it out, Miss Vanessa. We're gonna hold it down.
Yes, we are.
Y'all know when people are missing, y'all, you know, somebody got to fill in, and it's me today. So I got to do the scripture today. Today's scripture is Proverbs 14:23, and I'm going to do it in the Message version. For those that don't know, the Message version kind of brings it to more English that we understand. You remember in high school, Vanessa, you know, Shakespeare and thee, thou, and this, we got lost. So the Message version is a great version to consider because it helps bring it down to something that's more
layman's terms. Yeah,
absolutely. So the scripture is Proverbs 14:23 and 24. If you work hard at what you do, great abundance will come to you. That sounds like a little poem, don't it? If you work hard at what you do, great abundance will come to you. But merely talking about getting rich while living to only pursue your pleasures brings face-to-face poverty. Okay. So that's 23. 24. The true net worth of the wise is the true net worth of the wise is the wealth that wisdom imparts, but the way of life for the fool is his foolishness.
Oh, that's deep.
So Vanessa, what you think about this scripture?
That's deep. I like that. I really like the first verse. Can you read that again?
Absolutely.
As they say in church, read.
Read. No. You got to do it right, Vanessa. Ready? Read. If you work hard at what you do, great abundance will come to you.
Wow.
But merely talking about getting rich while living only to pursue pleasures will bring you face to face with poverty.
Wow. That scripture, that's a sermon in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about
Mm-hmm.
getting rich while living only to pursue your pleasures. That means you're not actively working on your goal or desire to have a better or a wealthier life, whether it's money wise or relationship wise. That sounds like faith without works. That to me, that's what it's saying. Faith without works will only what's that last part about your pleasures?
If you live life while only pursuing your pleasures, it'll bring you face to face with poverty.
And that's what it sounds like. You're not actually pursuing. You're just going after your pleasures and not pursuing the other part. So right now, if you're only going out for what I want, getting the things that I want, me, then I could see how that could put you in the poorhouse, because you're buying.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a desire. You're going after your own desires and not thinking about, do I always have to get all of my wants? Am I going? Do I always have to be pleased? I know you work hard and whatnot, but is that what it's all about? To me, that's what that scripture is saying.
Absolutely. And coming from a different perspective, sometimes we glorify those who have lots of money,
Absolutely.
right? And while we're glorifying, we're not working.
Exactly. Faith
We're
without
not
works.
working at
Yep.
trying to increase our own wealth. We're
Exactly.
we're celebrating. Like I always put Oprah in a whole nother stratosphere when it comes to money. She got money in with her face on. Okay.
Right.
But we put that on a pedestal somewhere. And Oprah did her work. The question is, have you done yours?
Right.
And
We spend our time.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
And at the same time, old school, since we old enough to know this conversation, our parents would tell us, well, I done worked all day, so I can have, I can do, I would be able to do and kind of do. And sometimes with not pulling that apart, you think, well, all I got to do is just go to work. And that's it. You're not working at building wealth. And that's why the second half of the scripture is important, because it says the true net worth of the wise is the wealth that wisdom imparts.
Because
So
wisdom
that
will
means
tell
you're
you.
looking for wisdom. I'm looking for ways to be able to increase, not blow my money.
Right.
Whoever gets here first with my paycheck gets their money. Whoever don't, oh well. Right. You're not looking at ways to increase that. So sometimes we got to come out of the spotlight of others, celebrating everybody else's money without looking at mine. What do you think, Vanessa?
Wisdom will tell you that you too, could be there too if you work hard. If you change your mindset and not glorify the person that has, because you don't know the full story of how they got to where they are to have what they have, whether it's a relationship, financial, whatever it is, you don't know. So wisdom will say, hey, because if it's a desire of your heart, if it's a goal you have set, wisdom will say, hey, don't spend all your time on Facebook or on the internet looking them up and reading about them. What can you do? What have you
Absolutely.
done to become a little wealthier, in whatever area it is that you desire? Wisdom will say, hey, Facebook isn't going to help you get out there, look, glorifying and being in awe of someone else and always there to see what they've done. What are you doing?
Absolutely. And
wisdom will tell you to put it down.
Right. To the point also, because right now it's the gram, it's TikTok, it's Snapchat,
it's everything.
It's, looking for likes without necessarily looking at. So let's go old school. Let's make it practical. Remember when, we first started working, a lot of it was during when we first started getting into the field, and they were saying, don't spend money on lunch every day. Take that money, put it up, save it, invest it, look into things.
Right.
But sometimes just even dealing with coworkers who are out spending money. I was watching ESPN this week. Actually, it was last week. And they were teasing the host. For those that don't watch First Take, I loved First Take. Okay. And Molly Q is the host. And then she has all the guys who come in and talk about their stuff. But Molly brought in her lunch, and they were teasing her about
Right.
her lunch bag.
I saw that. I saw
It
that.
was a pink lunch bag, and
I
they
saw
went
that.
inside the lunch bag, and it was just everybody was laughing. And Molly was serious. She was like, "Look, lunch in New York is expensive."
Yep.
And they were teasing her. Now she took it all in stride, but sometimes personally, that's where we fall because people are like, "You brought your lunch?" You know, and you remember pulling out the sandwich bag, Vanessa, and you unlocked the
The
sandwich
brown
bag.
paper bag.
Brown paper bag. You know, people would tease you because you're trying to do something that's not
Right.
necessarily popular.
Right.
So again, you're looking for wisdom. You're not looking to be popular. And the quote that I'll put up here is wisdom comes to the one who seeks it. You're looking for ways to improve. It doesn't have to be huge ways. You know, you're not dropping $5,000 out at a time and doing all, you may not have that, but small things that help you to be able to save and invest and have your money growing for you while you go to sleep is a goal of all of us. Vanessa, your thoughts?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, investing, when when you really think about it, or when I really think about it, is when I'm at work and I don't want to be there if I'm
We
tired.
don't want to be there.
I got a deadline. I got a deadline, and it's like, man, I really need to do X, Y, and Z. That's when the motivation really hits you. I really need to get off my duff and do X, Y, and Z. I really need to put more into investing. I really need to put more into, an IRA. That's when it really hits you. I don't know about you, but that's when it hits me, when you're on the call and you're like, man, I got all this work to do. Why am I doing it? Why can't I work for myself? That's when the light bulbs really hit you. Okay, you got this on the side. Why are you not attacking it?
Absolutely. And this is why we're talking about this today. It's not to make anyone feel bad, but again, to get you start thinking, wisdom is there if you seek it. If you want to find out, sometimes it's just the information. Let me just get educated on it.
And then again, if it makes you feel bad, then we've done our job. If
Right.
making you feel bad has caused you to get up and move, then we've done our job. So it's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that is the scripture of the day. Miss Vanessa, what's
Yes,
going
ma'am.
on in the world? What's going on?
I keep telling you, we need to change that to what's not going on in the world, because so much is happening in the world.
Absolutely.
It's so much
Absolutely.
happening in the world. And unfortunately, I want to start with the story that's all over the place. I don't know if you all or if any of our listeners have seen the video of Mr. Tyree Nichols. 5 police officers have been charged with his death, and Memphis police just released the video footage last night, and they were calling for calm. And I did get to see it. I don't know if you've had an opportunity, Talisa, to view it.
I have had a chance to view it. I struggle with kind of looking at the entire thing because, again, seeing what has happened, it just brings it back, and it irritates me because I feel like we're still at this conversation and this is still not being worked out, and we are still not. Now, at the same time, I will say, as the daughter and niece of police officers, I'm sympathetic to police officers at the same
Right.
time, but at the same time, brutality and not being held accountable stands strong. So it was very hard to watch. And as a mother of a son, I battle. It makes me just cringe because you're worried, will the next phone call be that for you?
And-
So
and-
that's where I struggle. That's why I struggle with watching the whole thing, but I did see it. Yes, ma'am.
And let me just say, not all police officers are bad.
Correct.
Period. Let's just put that out there. They're not all bad. But unfortunately, as we've seen over and over again, that there are bad apples. So Memphis police released the video footage of the beating, the fatal beating, actually, of Mr. Tyree Nichols, and officers Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith were all fired after Davis, the chief of police, said that they violated department policies during the January 7th stop that led to his death. They They initially said they stopped him because he was driving erratically, and but but the police said that they did not. Chief said that they did not see where that was actually an issue. I did see the footage, however, I did not. Um, it wasn't clear, so I would need to see it again. But when his mom visited the hospital after he was taken to the hospital, and the condition that he was in was just awful. It was just awful. And it's the police officers, might I add, in this case, were all black police officers. They were not white or of another race. They were all black police officers. And, begs people to ask the question, or some has asked the questions, how can you do that to your own race? But, when I see this, what I think about? Remember back in the day when we were in school, the groups NWA and
Mhm.
those groups, how they would talk about police brutality.
Yes,
So this has been going on for quite some time. I,
it's
I
been
think
going
the
on
only
for a very
difference
long time.
the only difference is now we have these. We have cell phone cameras. There's cameras everywhere. So somebody somewhere is seeing. Somebody somewhere sees what you're doing.
I
Whether
have
you
to,
know it or
I,
not.
I have to speak from a clinician's perspective of officers that are in these positions. And I want to pose the question to you, Vanessa. Do you feel like, based on what the officers go through, that the type of work they do, um, all sorts of cases, that they are burned out?
That's your question. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think because of the nature of their job, they're tired in a lot of ways. They're tired of seeing the same old, perpetrators do things and get away with it. And I was trying to find, I believe this group of officers were part of a special unit. I was trying to find the name of the unit. Um, but I think burnt out is an understatement. I think they see this kind of stuff over and over and over again, and they're tired. And I don't know if that's how they've dealt with it, or began to, or have learned to deal with, those perpetrators in these instances, or not. But I think of course, they're burned out. I mean,
Absolutely. And the reason I asked the question is
absolutely.
I wonder if when we talk about training, because everybody goes to training, which I agree 100%, the training needs to be better. I also think their selection of who they decide will be officers is an issue. You hear a lot, particularly when it's of a different race. Well, I was afraid, and that's why I shot the gun, or this is why I did whatever. If you're afraid, you don't need to be in this field. Okay. But then the other thing I will add, since we came up off talking about wisdom and how to be able to put solution in place, that they need to have a program that gives the officers some sort of counseling, some sort of way to provide
A
to let the
release.
steam off. Yes, to let the steam off, because doing this type of work for someone that has went out with officers on mental health issues, you can see the exhaust from the officers of different things that are going on, how they're called to all of that. In no way, shape, or form am I making an excuse. What I'm saying is to suggest that some other programs need to be put in place for the officers to have some sort of release versus going from call to call to call to call or whatever.
But let me ask this. So last week, I believe it was last week, we had several mass shootings. And in California, I think the last one in California, the guy who committed the last shooting, he was taken into custody. I mean, I
Yes.
don't he wasn't beaten or anything. He
Mm-mm.
surrendered, he held his hands up, they put him down, cuffed him, and nothing. So how do you justify
You
a
can't.
traffic stop versus someone who's, allegedly, literally killed, multiple people who, they're here to talk about it and stand trial, whereas this person, he's gone. His
You
family's got to
can't.
bury him.
There's no justification for it at all. And this is why. And one thing I want to give kudos to the chief of police, for them releasing the video early, for them jumping on this early. It didn't take 6 months for us to finally see the video. They're getting things out sooner. Don't know if that's going to happen in all situations, but I'm glad to see that. But no, this is not something that you can okay and say, for instance, the person who did the Charleston 9 shooting that happened in South Carolina, they took him to Burger King before they brought him in.
Right.
So it's not that. Again, you never know. For someone that goes out with police, you never know what patrol you're going to get. So depending on the situation, depending on what's going on, none of that excuses this behavior. This was a beating that did not need to happen. These officers should be charged. I know that people like to throw in because it's, Black people doing it against Black people. That's why it came up sooner. I disagree with that concept. I think that the chief of police got on it early and got out front. But at the same time, it doesn't excuse any of this behavior. And these officers need to be charged.
So do you think the chief of police did it because she didn't want people saying that, or even insinuating that they might be trying to hide the event that had taken place? Considering, in other instances like these, it takes forever. Months down the line, this is revealed to have occurred.
But a lot of it is, the reason that it's not revealed is because it's a lot of red tape. It's the DA holding it. It's the chief of police holding it. It may be the mayor holding it because the mayor is over the police. It could be a number of things, which is why you can't say this will be the standard going forward. It should be the standard, but there's no guarantee. And a lot of times, depending on the investigations, depending on all of that's going on, is when the video is released.
Yeah, I'm glad it's out. I'm glad they jumped on it. And now these officers, they still have to go to trial, of course. And strange things have happened, even with video.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised. The gentleman who murdered George Floyd, because I can now say that it's no longer alleged, murdered George Floyd, is actually trying to get his charges reversed.
Of course. Of course.
So again, we're dealing with the issue of, what is given, what's not. And in my opinion, this is Talisa's opinion, the only reason that case is not brought back up is because of how big it got. If it had been a smaller case, I wonder.
Well, as of Friday, Haley is the only person, the only former officer who remains behind bars, because Mills and Officer Mills and Smith, former officers, posted $250,000 bond and were released late on Thursday. And Martin and Bean, as of Friday morning, they say the jail's records show that they've since been released, but Haley currently is the only person behind bars. So now we just have to wait to see how this plays out.
Yeah, so, and again, it brings it back to light. And in my opinion, this had an opportunity to get better. Senator Cory Booker and Senator Tim Scott, when the case in George Floyd, had the opportunity to create legislation which would have addressed it, but they could not agree. And the issue where they could not agree was about the liability of police officers.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, we're back at this same conversation we were at before, about the fact that Congress and Senate need to come together, because again, the focus has always been, well, we can't have the liability go on to police officers because then we won't have any police officers. That's not true.
Right.
And why do they get off with liability, but everybody else has to pay the penalty? It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Eventually, it's going to change. You can't stay this way forever. And eventually, things will change. So we have to keep all parties, the family of Mr. Nichols, as well as the families of the police officers, because, they suffer too. Their families, the extension, their spouses, the kids. All of that's in the news. It doesn't just stop because, they've done something wrong. Their families are all, I'm sure they're not liking what happened either. So we have to keep all parties in prayer, all parties.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
moving on to quickly, Elaine Chao, Mitch,
You're right. You said it the right way the first time.
Mitch McConnell's wife finally
Hmm.
responded. You know, when the former White House resident was in office, he started after he left, he started making um, some horrible comments about Mitch McConnell's wife. You know, she resigned after the insurrection and whatnot, and I guess he didn't appreciate it, and he would call her names and make foul comments about it. One in particular had to do with President Biden's documents, and he said, "Does Coco Chow have anything to do with Joe Biden's classified documents being sent and stored in Chinatown?" He said her husband, the old broken crow, is very close to Biden, the Democrats, and of course China. So I guess she finally, wanted to clap back at him. And she said, "When I was young, some people deliberately misspelled or mispronounced my name. Asian Americans have worked hard to change that experience for the next generation. He doesn't seem to understand that, which says a whole lot more about him than it will ever say about Asian Americans." So in essence, she's just letting him know, you know what, I see you, I don't like you, and I'm not giving you any more space in my head, which I think is kudos and good for her.
But at the same time, I'm sorry, I got to be on the other side. You
I
was
know.
fine when I was working in the cabinet.
Now, if he had made it to a second term, she wouldn't say a word. You wouldn't hear a peep out
You
of her.
wouldn't hear a peep from her.
A peep. So it's kind of null and void, actually. Now that he's gone, and now you can speak up. You only resigned because of the insurrection, and he's gone. And you probably thought, I don't know, maybe not, but she might have thought that she might be called in to testify or be questioned or whatnot, since she was a part of his party. Who knows? But you jumped ship, and now you want to claim that you try to help people off the boat.
Hey, I don't want to hear nothing she has to say. And now she's collecting the wrath from him, depending on who's going to do whatever.
Mitch
You
is
know,
also.
when she was in his cabinet, Mitch didn't have nothing to say. Okay. And now that we on the other side, but one thing I will say about Mitch McConnell is pretty even tone. He doesn't change, no matter if Trump gets upset, not upset, whatever, he stays even tone the whole time. So he's been himself, but I don't appreciate, the former twice impeached disgraced president talking about her, because that's not right. But at the same time, now you want the attention. And when you was in his cabinet and he was doing all sorts of crazy stuff, you didn't
It
have
was
a problem
okay.
with it.
It was
So,
okay.
yeah, I don't want to hear nothing she has to say.
Moving right along.
She could just keep going.
So you want to hear some sports? Can I give you some sports news?
Sports, Eagles. Do I hear it? Do I hear the Eagles? Do I hear y'all say Eagles fly? Okay, fly, Eagles fly. I'm gonna say it for everybody else. How
You know
about
what? I'm right there with you though, because I so want Jalen Hurts to go to the Super Bowl and win. I must say I'm partial because he's a former Alabama quarterback.
He
Jalen,
is.
we'd say, go on, Jalen. And then he left after Tua took his spot. He left and went to Oklahoma. So, he's born and raised in Alabama. So we're good. We're good. But this Sunday at 3 p.m. EST, 49ers play the Eagles. I won't even ask you who you got on that.
We're gonna send him home. We're gonna send him home. Okay. We got a rookie. Oh, actually, third string quarterback, and Jalen Hurts. But
he's good though. He's good.
Play with them.
He's good. He might be third string, but the boy is good.
Third string, but you know what? It's the people around him. He's pretty good. So it's
Purdy
not
is
like
good
this
now.
is just a little team.
They used to call him Mr. Irrelevant, but he's not irrelevant any longer. He might actually have the number one spot after this season.
Yeah, he has worked his way, but one thing I still think that he has to prove, because they still have Jimmy G, okay, as the quarterback. And if he does well, they will put Jimmy G behind him. Right. So he's actually working to take that job.
Well, if he takes them to the Super Bowl, I think it's his, because he's a third string, not a second, not a first, not a second. He's a third string, and they're going to the Super Bowl all behind most of his work, because what's his
Absolutely.
name got injured early on. So I think that the job is his. You'd be hard pressed not to give it to him. What case can you make for not giving it to him? But
Absolutely.
anyway, I digress.
And the second game is at
The
six
second
thirty.
game is at 6:30 p.m. It's the Bengals against the Chiefs.
So I gotta give respect to dude in
Burrow.
Cincinnati, Mr.
Burrow,
Burrow.
you have to. You have to.
You gotta give
have to.
Mr. Burrow his stuff, okay?
You have to. You
But
have to.
I am, as an Eagles fan, I am rooting for Patrick Mahomes. I love Patrick Mahomes, and I'm hoping that they can take Cincinnati out of there. But it's gonna be right. I was so excited. I actually thought the games were on today. So as you can see, I got my shirt on today. I was ready for the day. And I said, wait a minute, the games aren't on until tomorrow. So
it's tomorrow.
Absolutely. But fly, Eagles, fly. We are carrying everybody with us. So we're excited. We're excited.
Yes. I'm done.
So thank you, Miss Vanessa. Thank you for all the stories. Thank you.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
are missing Miss Bettina today, but we will have her next time. She will be back with the
ma'am.
fudge. So y'all know how
Miss
we do this.
Bettina.
We have to go into our topic of today, and we're talking about finances. We started off this show. We're talking about being wise and paying attention to how we manage our money. Talking about not glorifying other people's money and not paying attention to our own. Sometimes even just having the conversation about our money brings on a bit of shame. And we want to help calm that down today. We want us to get some good, wise information that'll help us make decisions. I'm of the belief that it is never too late, and that we can do what it is that we need to do so that we can live the way we want to live. Absolutely. So we're going to bring our guest in today, Mr. Leonard McReynolds. What's up, Leonard? How are you?
I am doing incredible. How are you?
I'm glad to have you here. All our money is happy that you're here to tell us about what to do.
Listen,
tell me how I can keep my money.
I am so glad that I was in the studio because I got some comments on all the stuff you guys have. And so I'm going to stick to my script. But I will say, Talisa, I do believe that it's unresolved trauma that those police officers have. That's what it is. It's unresolved trauma. And then we're expecting them to do a job while under any other job, you have to sit down, right?
Exactly.
And that doesn't excuse what they did, but I believe that the bigger, broader issue of where we cannot have this is we got to deal with the fact that you're sending people that are in trauma into explosive situations.
Exactly. Agree.
So,
Absolutely.
I don't have a dog in the fight for the Super Bowl. I am cheering that the third string quarterback will pull it out because I love a comeback story.
See, don't make me hit the button, Leonard. I'm going to have to send you up out of here, okay?
Boo!
I'm sorry, but that's just where I'm at. And so, listen, I appreciate being on here. I know this isn't a Zoom. I don't know. Am I able to share anything on here or no? We got to go this side here.
I got it.
Share.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry.
That's fine. No problem. That's fine. I'm prepared. I just I wanted to talk about the fact that the word for the year is intentionality.
Okay.
And so if we're talking about how are we going to make this year better and make the changes this year, it's about intentionality. Really, I mean that's the word we're using. That's the word we're using with our clients because let's face it, we all tend to gravitate towards things that we're intentional about. If we're intentional about doing whatever it is, right? Getting in a relationship, right? If we saying this gonna be the year, we tend to do more, to get in that relationship. If we're gonna get out of one, right? We're very intentional about, okay, I'm tired of this mess, I'm getting out, right?
Yes.
And so I think that from our experience, working with people, when they become intentional and live intentional about their money, then begin to happen there, right? And what I'll say at first is just listen. Look, if you got a bunch of money and you're making a bunch of money, you have no responsibilities. Sure, it is easier perhaps to see a pathway to being in control. But I can tell you, we have clients that are literally cash millionaires and some that are just working people, professional and blue collar. They work and just trying to make a living. And really, it is not the economics all the time. Most of it is their intentionality, right? And about the habits that they have. So a couple of things I just thought about in terms of sharing that I think might be helpful to this discussion is, number one is building solid morning habits. Like if you really are in a place where you're saying, I want to change this, then that means it's not on autopilot right now. So that means we have to recreate the right self. It is from within. I mean, Talisa, I know you can appreciate this being in the space that you're in. Listen, the answers to what we display on the outside are found on the inside.
Right.
And there's no difference in that when it comes to our money from our perspective. And so I think building good morning habits.
Wait a minute. You said, Leonard, morning, like
the
morning
habits.
Okay.
Yeah, building good morning habits, meaning that, and I'm not just talking about your money. So if you believe, and I know you guys have scripture, so I know it's a safe space for talking about our beliefs spiritually. Listen, whatever you need to add, the things that you need to change and the things you're praying for, that needs to be a part of that morning ritual. I believe that so often we are getting up and flying through life, right? And then by the time the day is over, we just hit the bed. Yep. I just believe if you want to be more intentional about our finances and about what kind of financial picture we're in, we've got to build that into our morning habits, right? Now, okay. We know good and well, should you be in the Word in the morning, and should you have, okay, so I'm just saying, even if you're not in the Word, I'm saying you need to build more solid habits in the morning about what you want to see with your finances. And I'm talking about, all that stuff that, probably people are like, oh my God. Yeah. Writing it out, meditating and praying over it, doing affirmations on what you want. Man, I know that sounds crazy, but if you're trying to develop something new, it's important that be the scenario that you're in. And so also you got to plan your business for the year, whatever your business is, whether you are in business actually, or whether we just talk about what are the things, if you're in a family, whether you're married or you're the head of a single parent household, that entity economically is like a business. So you've got to plan for what's happening there, as opposed to just saying, well, I'm just going to try to deal with everything that comes up. That's very stressful, and it hasn't proven to help people change in their situations. And so also, I think, like looking at the year 2023, that's too long of a time. You've got to set additional goals for the week, right? I have this workout plan I'm on right now, and I'm on the videos in the mornings, or either when I can catch them, and they're saying like, what is your one goal you're gonna set for this workout? Like, I'm gonna get through, the reps without stopping. I'm like, I ain't got there yet. I need a little rest in the middle, but the point is they're teaching you incremental goals. You're not just going to say this is going to happen for 2023 and then think, okay, I'm just going to wait for December 31st and see what happens. No, you got to, what goals do you have for this week? And can you take bite-sized pieces of, maybe it is taking your lunch. I don't care what anybody say, the leftovers I have that night before, them going in the next day for lunch is efficient. The food is good. I can control my food source. So from my perspective, I like taking my lunch, not just because I'm in the financial space, because I want to control my food source, because that's also connected to my health goals.
So let me ask a question in between there, sure. Leonard. When you talk about shortening your goals, I think that's great advice, because we're looking, New Year came in, everybody's planning for the year, and what happens is people in the space that I work with, people on their habits and how they feel internally about things, is people tend to give up when they've erred. So to the point that we're talking about lunch, right? I came in and I said I was going to take my lunch this week, and I messed up 3 days out of the week. So then what we do is we just give up and we say, oh, well, this is not working. What would you say to that?
Boy, that's a lot that you are bringing up there. Listen, failure is not final. I think that we got to give ourselves the ability to be able, we're work in progress, you know, in many areas. Some of us may have some areas down, some of us haven't. Anybody that's got any kids, particularly adult kids, will know, you know what I'm saying, that it's a work in progress. Anytime you think anybody I hear saying, yeah, my kids will never, I'm like, man, they're gonna be real disappointed one day, because it's a work in progress. So we have to give ourselves, in my opinion, give ourselves the ability, give ourselves some grace. Okay, you know, look, you messed up. You can start over at any time, right? I said I was gonna eat this way. I went to a function. Look, they was paying for the meal. I wasn't gonna stick to just vegetables. We had a steakhouse. Are you kidding me? The bread is on the table. I cannot, you know. But listen, if that's what you choose to do, all right, you reset, and then the next you get back on track at that particular point, right? I mean, that is just understanding that you're still better off. If you had one day that you got off your diet, or one day that you splurged, you knew you weren't supposed to buy that stuff, and you went and you bought, right? And you shopped, and it's $500 later. Just, you know, look, you can, first of all, you can return some of that stuff, but second of all, you can do better next time, right? That is also good. So I think that's really, really important for people to understand failure is not final. And that goes into another point that I put down here, and that was you got to reflect on your life and on this progress with gratitude, being grateful for what you have. I think so much of the pressure, and Vanessa talked a little bit about it earlier, maybe it was you, Talisa, but so much of this pressure is because we're living part of our lives seeing a reality. Actually, it's a false reality a lot of times on social media, and we are under this pressure to measure up to really a false reality, right? What, you know, that one picture that it took that girl, you know, 3 hours to get that picture perfect, and we're looking at, wow, you know what I'm saying? Yep. You see, I don't look like that, right? You know, I'm just saying. Some of those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
It took 100 shots before she found one.
That's correct. And that person is in this house that we don't realize ain't really their house, right? We don't realize that, and we thinking, man, what did I do wrong? I'm looking at my house, you know, I got his cracks in the wall over here, and this is happening. The yard need redigging, and then they had this beautiful house that they don't really actually own, but we don't know that, right? And so you got to reflect with gratitude. You're never going to get more blessings, better in your finances, better in your health, whatever you're trying to work with, if you don't have gratitude for where you are right now. You gotta approach progress from and reaching your goals with a sense of gratitude. That's not like, you know, the whole thing my dad used to say, you know, don't compare yourself to Pookie and them, like you didn't have a circumstance. So it's not like, well, at least I'm not like Pookie, right? No, I'm just saying be grateful for what it is that you currently have in your current situation, because God can't bless you with bigger things if you're not a good steward of others. I don't know the scripture, but it's in there. Okay.
But you know what, to that point, Leonard, I will add in, you know, I have a t-shirt that says that I am my ancestors' biggest dream. And if you think about it, generations before us didn't have all that we have now. You remember when we were kids, you didn't eat out every day. There is no way.
Or at all.
Oh, right. Eddie Murphy came up with that in his skit about, you know, the hamburger, and we wanted McDonald's, and you know, my mama made me this, and you know, whatever. But they didn't eat out every day. So to that point, being grateful that we can, you know, but being good stewards of what we actually have. So that's a very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, very, very well. Very, very good things. And then, hey, I mean, and this may be somewhat self-serving, but hey, you need to check in with an advisor or mentor. Listen, we don't change without accountability.
Right.
You know, I guess that's where, and she's not on here this week. So she's at a.
Uh-oh. We had a problem.
Did we lose him?
I don't know.
Because of the fact that.
There you go.
No.
There you go. We lost you for a second, Leonard. Say that one more time.
I said maybe that's why wives always trying to tell you what to do, right? Because people don't change without accountability, right?
They're smart. Wives are smart.
Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, and we're near it. I heard you talk about, shout out to Sonia and Paul about 35 years. We're 24 this year.
Oh, wow.
So
Congratulations.
we're getting there,
Congratulations.
and we are a somewhat younger couple with that much time behind us. So
Wow.
all
Yes.
is not lost. But just getting back to the point is that, listen, checking in with an advisor or mentor. I think, look, I'm in the financial space. We run a financial company. The reason why I can talk with these issues with the way I can is because we do this every day. We're licensed financial professionals. We have a practice we've been running over 20 years now. And so what I always tell people, because everybody's thinking it's about the product here, and I heard about that, it's the relationship. I mean, we've got relationships with about 40 different financial companies to get you this kind of product and this kind of thing, and the Roth this and this and that. That's great. But nothing's more important than the relationship. Right. And having a relationship with a financial professional that you actually can sit and talk to that can help you through, not just because you're doing bad or you messed up. It's just that people need guidance. If this is not what you do every single day, then you're going to need guidance in those areas. Just like we go to doctors and we go to nutritionists and we go to counselors, and we go to other people, and we have to, I think, get rid of this false narrative, perhaps created in previous generations, about, well, you don't tell nobody your business. I mean, well, how has that done for you so far? How has that worked out, right? You need to be consulting with someone that can help you along that pathway, because listen, again, I'm on the video doing my calisthenics. If it was a personal trainer there telling me don't quit, no, get them feet back up there or whatever, don't stop in the middle, I would do more.
Right.
But she just on the video, I don't care what she said, I'm tired, I'm gonna stop for a minute, right? So without direct accountability, we're not gonna be the best versions of ourselves, right? And so having a relationship with an advisor, someone that actually, in my case, we're licensed fiduciaries, which means if we tell you something wrong, we can be sued for it. That's a little different than TikTok or Instagram or somebody saying I'm a coach. Well, that's also another word for I'm gonna give you advice, but if it all blows up, you can't hold me accountable for it because I don't have a license to do it. So
well, let me ask you a quick question to that point. Okay, as a financial advisor, one of the ladies asked the question that I'm kind of interested in as well. How would you get a teenager, 15-year-old, or any teenager started and getting them interested in investing? What steps would you take to at least approach it?
Okay, so that's very good. And my wife has been doing a good bit of work this week with minor accounts. Because of some changes to the Secure Act that just came out about things that can be done with minor accounts. But listen, I don't think, for our kids, I don't know that they got interested in investing. They've just been investing because it's not them investing. It's us investing. Chances are, if it's a 15-year-old, unless they got a job and you can do, I think it starts out with getting a minor account opened up that maybe you can turn over to them when they have the money to be able to do it. I've got a gentleman, perfect example about habits, and Talisa, I know you'll appreciate this. He drives for a courier company. I'm not gonna say whether it's UPS or FedEx or Amazon, but they deliver to our building every single day. We have an office here in Buckhead, and so I've been in this building like 10, 12 years. So we developed a relationship and he became a client. Well, his daughters were minors when he started, and he had me come over to the house. That was before Zoom and all that. And we set up those accounts for them. And now that they're adults, they're taking money out of their paychecks each and every month and invest them when they were teenagers. He started with them. And now that they're adults, that habit has been ingrained. So initially it wasn't them doing it. It was the parents doing it, which, look, let's face it. That also goes back why you need a relationship with somebody like myself. Right. Because if you're not doing it for you, you're not going to do it for them. And this was a guy who his wife didn't work outside the home. He made, $60,000, $70,000, $5,000 a year, had 2 daughters. That ain't a lot of money in today's world to be raising an entire family, but he saw it important to put away a little money himself, right? And have his daughter start doing it out of the little he had. So it wasn't like he had a whole bunch of money, right? He was driving the truck. He wasn't in the office talking about, what we need to do with this division, right? No, he was the guy delivering the package to the office. And my point just is that his intentionality about putting away money himself, it went to his children, and then now they as young adults are doing the same thing. So they're minor accounts, to answer your question specifically, all types of minor accounts that you can see which one is best for you. Some the kid takes over and they own the account when they turn 18. Some people say, not with my money, right? And other accounts, the parent keeps the custodial interest on. But the point is they're minor accounts. We work with people who set up monthly contributions to those accounts all day long. My wife, in fact, I think in December opened up like 30 minor accounts just in the month of December alone, because people want to do that for the upcoming year.
So the parents should open it, get it started. And then if they want to turn it over to the teenager at some point, then that would be a good way.
Okay. It was a little bit of buffering. I don't know if it was on my end. Look, if the kid already has money that they're working a job or something, sure, they could do it. But more than likely, in all practical purposes,
it's the parents.
The parent's going to start it. And we're talking about a monthly situation.
Gotcha.
So we set up stuff all the time on a monthly basis for clients that want to put a little bit of money away each. Man, it might be 25, 50, 75, 100, $150 or whatever. But it doesn't have to be like, I got to take out of my 401k to start something for my kids. This is just, little bits of money, because it's about the habits, right, Talisa? That's what it's about. It's about the habits. So I hope that answered the question.
It did. Yeah.
Yes. So I have one other question that one of our listeners was asking as well in regards to this Bitcoin, things that are online. There was the whole crash where the gentleman was stealing people's money. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I guess as a licensed financial advisor, I'm not going to give advice on cryptocurrencies because we are not licensed to do that. So that's my disclaimer there. What I will say is, you saw what happened. My dad used to say, shame on me the first time, right. What I'm saying? Shame on you the first time, shame on me if I let it happen again, right?
That's right.
And so I guess the point just is that it speaks to a broader issue that we have in this country and certainly in what I would call working class communities. Listen, it's hard to put all this stuff together and figure out how to live in the right place and buy the right foods and give our kids the right experiences and take a break when needed and buy clothes and have a car that's safe and decent and all. And it's not, especially when you got many situations that are happening that financially that you got your paycheck stuck here, but stuff is costing you more. Mm-hmm. It's difficult. So what that causes for working class people of all colors, quite frankly, is we're always looking for a way to get into something that we can put a little bit in and get a lot out of. Okay. So what I guess my overall point is many of these types of things, cryptocurrencies also I think falling into that. Hey, listen, if you got all your other bases covered, and this is just money that you can afford to lose, okay, fine. It's just such a small percentage of people, that fall into that place. They can't afford to lose it. So I think there's a place where you put in terms of speculative or alternative investments. As an example, I got a client that they've got about close to a $4 million net worth, and basically they have some alternative investments that they are in. So they got about $150,000 out of their $4 million net. And I'm talking about like house paid off, cars paid off, right? Like no own nobody, and they got liquid net worth of $4 million. It's $150,000 that they actually are putting towards the speculative stuff. The problem with these crashes and these things we're hearing about is people are thinking, this is where I need to put my 401k now. This is where I need to put all my money at. And so for the lion's share of people, they can't afford to play that game.
Right.
And what the unfortunate situation is, I think that they're marketers, they're predators, because they know anytime, they can tell a working class person, hey, you can put a little bit up and you're going to get a lot out. We are suckers for that scenario. So that's where I'll stand on that kind of situation.
Real quick to kind of piggyback off of that, the infinity banking. Can you explain what that is real quick and just give your thoughts on that? I know we're
Infinite banking is today's it's a scam that's actually legal, meaning that people are going. It's great marketing. I mean, the marketing is incredible. Unfortunately, the financial aspect of it works nothing like the marketing. Infinity banking is nothing more than another scam that's in another I guess is disguised in another way, right? That's really all it is. It is the life insurance's industry's attempt to get people to put money, dump actual money into life insurance policies because they have some features in them that allow people to do a couple of things. And the problem is that the marketing is completely false. And just to give you an example, because I'm not biased on this, Mass Mutual recently told all of their advisors, do not use the term infinity. We are not going to be associated with this marketing of infinity banking. So all it is trying to get people to buy overpriced whole life insurance, telling them they can do all these things that it doesn't do. It's just but the marketing on it seems so good. They, of course, again, just like cryptocurrencies and everything else, you can do a little and get a lot. And so what's sad about it is in working class communities where they're literally, what it amounts to is, at the end of the day, when you put money into a whole life policy, they really end up stealing your money. I mean, people think, well, I can get the money. You can't get the money. You can borrow the money.
right.
Or if you want to get the money, you cancel the insurance. So I got a client recently that was in one of these infinity banking programs, and what we realized, she had a $200 a month budget to do this. They were charging her $200 a month in the program for X amount of life insurance coverage. It was $400,000. What we did is put her into a pure life insurance program for the same amount for $70, and we took the other $130 or whatever it was a month, and we invested that in a Roth IRA and some real investments. And when we looked at how much the infinity banking program was promising her to have, by the time she turned 65, they were promising her $15,000, and our program is going to give her $150,000.
Oh, wow.
So we're stealing the wealth from our communities. That's why it almost angers me, right? But I'm saved, Talisa, so I'm not angry. But it really does irk me that people are preying upon our communities, and we are just ripe for something that says you can do a little and get a lot. And unfortunately, we don't have a relationship with an advisor you can call that can break down the details behind it. So we get involved in stuff like that. And then another generation of our people suffer financially because of the fact we don't know. So that's my comment on this infinity banking stuff.
Well, you know what, and I love how he checks in with me to make sure he's not angry, he's saved. I really appreciate that, Leonard. I really do. So usually he got so much info, we can't do it all in one show, and y'all know we're ready to go. But Leonard, if you can share how people can get in touch with you, that would be wonderful.
Sure. On the screen, as you can see, you can screenshot it. You can get in touch with me or my wife, Jennifer. We run our practice together. And so cell phone numbers and office numbers, we've got Instagram, Facebook, and also LinkedIn profiles. So Leonard and Jennifer McReynolds. We've been operating our practice in Buckhead for about 20 some odd years. I like to tell people with the same telephone number, you know what I'm saying? So we are licensed representatives. You can look us up and all that kind of stuff through the official channels. We're not like some people that have the scoop, right? We're actually responsible for what we say to people. So hopefully you can see that on the screen, take a screenshot of it, call either one of us. And we don't charge a monetary fee to work with people. We work with middle income families, and we just try to, we get the partners we have, they pay us for helping the people, right? That's how we make our money. So that's all I got, Talisa.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. And I will speak as a client that they are amazing. which is why we always have them back. And I love how you work with everyday people. It's not something that's too far above anybody.
Right.
They can digest what's going on. So we appreciate you. We thank you for being on the show today.
Been a pleasure.
We thank
welcome.
everyone for listening today and checking out the show. We will be back in 2 weeks with another conversation.
Yes.
And Leonard, we're going to put him out because, you know, he said the 49ers. So, you know, I can't even play with that. But we're going to pray for him. We're going to pray for him. But you know how we do. We love y'all. We good to see y'all. And we will see y'all in 2 weeks. Take care.
Get ready for Sonia, Teresa, Vanessa, Bettina. Come on. Say what? Come on. Say what?